by adjusting flow and pressure in the pulmonary artery, allows them to heal themselves. This is old technology that's been around since the 50s, but it was done in a much, much different way. It was done by something called pulmonary artery banding, which is an open chest procedure. We came up with a minimally invasive procedure, which goes beyond what pulmonary artery banding is supposed to be, because our product is adjustable any time after the initial insertions.
Welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Just sit back, relax, and learn from the leaders of today. It's a journey. Each one is different, unique, inspiring. Let's get started. 20-Minute Leaders is a proud supporter of Make-A-Wish Israel and Tech to Peace, and is in proud collaboration with Secret Chord Ventures, J Ventures, Riverside FM, Fusion VC, Birthright Excel, J Impact, Leap, Google for Startups, and Hippo, and in media partnership with C-Tech. Seth Bogner, welcome to 20-Minute Leaders. Thank you for joining me for a fun conversation. How are you?
Great, Michael. Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for joining me. You're the chairman and CEO of HeartPoint Global, and soon we'll talk about what you're doing in the healthcare field and the cardiac field to make a meaningful impact on a lot of people's lives, literally. And what's just as interesting as what you're doing with HeartPoint Global is the journey that got you to HeartPoint Global and to what you're doing today. And so I'm excited to sort of unravel this with you over these 20 minutes and tell your story. So again, thank you very much for being here.
Great, Michael.
Wonderful. Well, tell me a little bit about, what do you care about? Let's start there, and then we'll go back to your journey.
Well, I what do I care about? I've really focused in my business and my personal life on trying to make the world a better place. And I spent most of my career, which goes back over 3 decades, creating things in the financial services business. And I thought it was important to sort of evolve what we're doing. And it's not just me evolving, it's sort of capitalism evolving. And just to receive for profit alone is great. There's nothing matter with that. It served us for a long time. But I think now, especially at times we live in, what we've seen with COVID, what we've seen with the last financial crisis, what we're seeing in this financial crisis is everything in the world's interconnected. Everything in the world is part of one thing. And I think if you do a little good and make money at the same time, we're not communists. We could incorporate that into your thinking, into your intention. That allows you as an investor to, or as somebody who runs a business or an entrepreneur, I think really good things come out of it. I think all of our employees, well, I know all of our employees, and a lot of people that are attached to our business came because of our social mission as much as for the economics of the business. So I think if everyone try to incorporate that just a little bit, they don't have to be like us and have 2 separate business plans, one for the developing world and one for the developed world, but just incorporate just a little bit of that business. I think it makes the world a better place, and I think it makes all of us as people better people, and it improves the general vibration of the world.
That's awesome. How did you get here? I mean, was there you said you were in the financial business. What led to sort of you now spending a significant amount of time, talking this way and thinking this way?
Well, I made an investment in a company, and I don't think anything's by accident. I think it was fatalistic that I was presented at this company that had a way to cure a lot of cardiac indications in a new, simpler way that would make it much more accessible for people around the world. And what happened is the people, especially the great doctors and founders and everyone else who, started the company, they were really good at conceptualizing things, but they weren't really good at doing things. And I brought to bear, all my experience in company formation, restructuring, investment management, and kept going deeper and deeper. And then when we were about, 4 years into the investment, I said that it really just wasn't working, and it needed me to really, it didn't have to be me, it could have been somebody else with the same sort of skill set to come into the business to really focus on creating the business structures that are necessary to have a successful business. We're not a startup, we're a bit more advanced than that, but the company at that point was based in Switzerland, had a production agreement with a company in Germany. We moved the company to Ireland and subsequently moved most of our operations, or at least our R&D, to Israel. And, we have this culture, this energy about not just doing something good, but also helping in the world. We've had a lot to overcome. We've had COVID, we've had supply chain shortage, we're planning on doing all of our clinical testing in Ukraine. So we just got banged in every possible way you can. And, and up to this point, I've supported the company and the investment in the company, vast majority to me personally. And that has allowed us to go through. Obviously, we're looking for, the right type of partners, to move the company forward. Companies that aspire to be public companies, or before we would get to that level, are symphonies, not solo acts. So we are constantly searching for more and more people to get involved in what we're doing. And so we're at a pretty exciting stage right now.
When you made that decision to join officially as, I guess, chairman and CEO, you started as an investor and you joined and then you transitioned to be taking a very active role. That's a pretty big life decision beyond a financial one. So talk to me a little bit about, that. It's not a trivial decision.
Well, I think everybody has a few careers in them. Example, you served in the Army, and then we started a business. You probably be successful at that and start another business that will probably be different than the first business you start. I've started a lot of businesses and I've done a lot of firsts. And for better or for worse, I get bored or eat peasel. And I also am somebody who does a lot of research and on my own. And so once I really understood possibilities of what we're doing at HeartPoint, what's the correct word? And there was an opportunity that really needed somebody to step forward because it was going to help people all over the world. And not only that, it's going to make a lot of money. So that decision, I was living between Israel and Italy most of the time, and I'm now spending more time in New York. And that decision was sort of an easy one. I sat down with my wife and I said, listen, we want to do something that's really going to help the world. And she was on board. But, and I gradually reduced my responsibilities in my other enterprises. So that allowed me to focus on this, full time.
Yes. Well, tell me a little bit about the product that you're working on. What is the technology behind it? Why does it matter to the world? Obviously, it matters. When I said it here in your own words.
Yeah, we have the ability to, well, first of all, it's a system that works in a heart-lung system, and it allows patients to, in essence, by adjusting flow and pressure in the pulmonary artery, allows them to heal themselves. And this is old technology that's been around since the 50s, but it was done in a much, much different way. It was done by something called pulmonary artery banding, which is an open chest procedure. We came up with a minimally invasive procedure, which goes beyond what pulmonary artery banding is supposed to be, because our product is adjustable any time after the initial insertion. So right on the spot, if we didn't get the adjustment right, a year or a day, if patient is a child and grows, you can always change the pressure and flow. And that is for left heart disease primarily in the developed world, meaning very sick people who have, cardiovascular disease is the biggest killer in the world. The largest subsection of cardiovascular disease is left heart disease. And the largest subsection of left heart disease is something called cardiomyopathy. And we can help many, many, many types of cardiomyopathy patients. And at the same time, in the developing world, we have 1 in 100 kids is born with an ASD or VSD, so a congenital heart defect. That's a huge, huge number. And we could help a lot of those kids. And once again, it's by, these kids healing themselves. Plus, our technology is useful for people that not just in the cardiovascular system, but if you have somebody who has cirrhosis of the liver and they're what we call a TIPS patient, they have the same need of the adjustable technology that we hold patents on to adjust flow and pressure that could help treat cirrhosis. So, what's interesting about us is we're not a high-tech kind of technology. It's actually, Occam's razor types of thing, that the simplest solution is generally the best solution. So the patent that we hold is basically when stents, which are normally used for either opening up an artery or plugging up an artery, a hole in an artery, are used therapeutically by nesting inside each other. And this is a simple solution that allows us to do things in different parts of the body. And, going into the pulmonary artery is a big deal. And we've done tons of preclinical work in Israel, in Le Havre, which is near Beersheba. And it took a lot of work to be able to do this in a safe and effective way. So now we're poised about to go into movements and there are competitive products that do part of what we do, but nobody that does that. We do it not at the price point that we have, which is, where if you take the extreme example, in the Western world, if somebody needs, or in the United States, if somebody needs an artificial heart, LVAD, over 10 years, and it's great that they can live 10 years with an LVAD nowadays, it would cost $1 million. Our device costs $4,000. And even with hospital costs being what they are in the United States, so let's say it's $25,000, $30,000, because you're going to keep somebody overnight, but they're in and out because you are ripping open their chest. So we are, moving very, very rapidly towards being able to treat fluids that we expect next month or so. We have a little being ready to house our first to be. So, and it's a long road to get there. If you're in a highly regulated field.
what does a go-to-market in something like this look like? How do you even go about
we've been through the worst of it, which was all the R&D, and we've done all the preclinical work that is necessary. But now we go through the approval process, and we're going through the approval process in the FDA in the United States, CE, and also there are a lot of other healthcare systems, especially since we're doing so much work with the developing world, that are not part of the FDA or CE. I think if something's approved by the FDA and could use it in Israel, and it's like that in a lot of countries. So at least we'll have another 3 years on going market in the highly regulated areas. We've been focused in Ukraine on dealing with a quick go-to-market with the CIS countries, former Soviet countries, and we have several other, quick go-to-markets. Like there are so many places where they need. Well, we have our achievable markets, 34 million patients right now throughout the world. So you can go to a country like Nigeria, like 200 million people, and stay very busy there, assuming you go or get the approvals in that one country while you're going for your FDA and seeing your EU approval. So, we have a two-pronged go-to-market strategy, one for the developed world and one for the developed.
And what is that like for you, being involved in something that, takes years of R&D, regulatory approval processes? How do you, what is that experience like for you as an executive and for people as their daily work until you get to see the fruits of it live on the field, with people reacting to it? Well,
we're lucky. First of all, we have such a great team of skilled professionals. Like our regulatory guy was a regulatory guy in Ireland, and the Irish representative towards the new regulations they have in Europe. So we deal with regulatory as a regulator looks at it. And I'm sorry, what was the second part of your question?
So spending that time to both you as an executive and the people working with you on this, not seeing necessarily the product, in the hands of customers and getting that feedback coming from a software background.
Yeah,
right?
Well, also, we've done so many preclinical studies. We've seen the evolution of the product.
So it's sort of through this. So you're saying through the preclinical studies and through the process, you are feeling the product getting tested and getting feedback.
Absolutely. Like 3 weeks ago, we did what I call our dress rehearsal for First in Human, and we had unbelievable results. That surpassed our expectations. That also is part of the strict testing process that we have to go through building a Class 3 medical device in the Western world.
Yep.
So no, I'm very, very. It's not hard keeping motivated. What was hard was when you put so much work into Ukraine and you see Ukraine get invaded and that whole unfortunate situation. What's hard is knowing that we could be helping people and having to slow down because of COVID. Or trying to source PTFE, which is artificial alumina-based product that we need for inside of our shafts, and know that there's a global shortage of PTFE. But then when you find it, it's 4 times what you thought it cost. These are the frustrations we've had to deal with. But, because of we have such a great team who are experienced, and, I just gave you one example with our regulatory guy, but, our CTO, was chief engineer for, another heart-related company in Israel that, did an exit for over $600 million. So, even people in our team, for doctors, all have been involved in other things that have been successful. So it's me, people have me that, seen this process work. And I don't worry about the exit so much. And, I know in Israel, everyone's like, well, what's the exit? What's the exit? I think if you run a good company and you're trying to do good things for your shareholders and for the world, the exit becomes natural. And it doesn't have to be an exit. It could go public. With the stay private, it make lots of money for people if you're a cash flow oriented company like we are. So, we are, there's nothing the matter with cash. It's not all about exit. And, not as sensitive as most people are to valuation. Because I think if you do and continue to do the right thing, you can generate a lot of money. And valuation doesn't mean as much to me as it would necessarily to others. And I'm going through this process now as we're talking to investors, about coming into the company. I'm looking more for the right kind of investor than I am about, looking for the one who's going to give me the best valuation. Because, as I think I said earlier, public companies are companies that get mature symphonies. And I know that the right type of partner is just, what type of money you bring into the company is just as important as the amount of money we bring in.
I love it. Seth, I really appreciate your time and your work and the insights that you've shared, a little bit from your own personal experience and all, obviously the why you're doing what you're doing. So I wishing you best of luck with HeartPoint Global and looking forward to continue cheering from the side. Congrats on the big milestones and I really thank you for coming here and sharing your story.
Oh, thanks, Michael. I look forward to our coffee when I get to Israel.
Thank you.